Good evening and welcome to McGoo at Bryn, Celi, which is in this quite famous place. I can't say the name myself, but if you can, carry on. And yeah, we're down on the Menai Straits, which is basically the sort of river that runs between Anglesey and North Wales. This is one of the lower points in the river, and it's just about sort of 2 or 3 miles up the road from there. Here's the actual site itself, which you can see is quite small. It's surrounded by a fence because it's in the middle of a farm, and they do have a lot of farm animals, although you can't see them there. They did come over and have a bit of a nose as to what I was up to a bit later on. As you can see, the site is a sort of barrow that's been constructed. Now it's about 4,000 years old, is the best guess. It might be older, people aren't really sure. This is the rear of the site. That stone is known as the illustrated stone. We'll have a look at that again a bit later on. And here we can see the back. You can see there, just by where my dog is, that's the original lintel, and just underneath it you can see a modern lintel, concrete lintel, that's been put in to support it, to stop it collapsing. Obviously it's not entirely original features because of that, but also this area has sort of been dug out and had some substrate put down for you to walk on. As you can see, the patina that's covering these rocks is very, very old. There's a lot of, well, all sorts of stuff there, fossilised fungus, and it's certainly all very weathered. These stones, whether they're original or not, or whether they were found on the site and used to reconstruct these walls, I'm not entirely sure. A lot of it is original, certainly these larger stones are. The stones that are surrounding the site in a sort of circular formation, as is often the case with these, it's in a bit of a dip, which you might sort of describe as a barrow. Now here we are inside. As you can see, there's quite a lot of markings on these stones, almost like cuts in the stones. These markings, however, are probably 20th century, just as a guess. Obviously that's on the concrete lintel, and there's the other concrete lintel. Now in the centre we have this large stone that stands up, and it's marked, quite a few markings all over it really. No one's really quite sure what the stone is for, but people have argued that the way the light comes through this gap, it lights the stone in a certain way at certain times, and they argue maybe this is some kind of calendar. I don't know if that is the case, but it's certainly an interesting thought. The most popular theory as to what this was used for is some sort of burial chamber. It may be that bodies were brought into here and laid out to decompose before their bones being collected to bury properly. Here we have some of the stones outside, and as you can see, they're quite heavily marked as well. Again, not really sure what those marks indicate. Again, they may be some sort of calendar. No one's really sure. It's certainly an impressive site to look at, particularly considering the age of it. Could be 4,000 years old, could be older. It's actually quite small as well, which sort of suggests that the people that constructed it were quite small themselves. I sort of really had to duck down to get through the gap at the front. So sort of dragging bodies in and out certainly wouldn't be an easy task these days, which does sort of give you a few questions about the possibility of it being used as a burial chamber, particularly as it is all so small. And there we are again with the central stone, and you can see those markings on there. They do look man-made. The stone itself is certainly interesting. There's something about it. It's very smooth, very worn. Why is it there? Why are those lines going up it? They all seem to be spaced in a very normal way. Almost as if somebody had cut them in at certain intervals to signify something. And again, you see these marks all over the place. Some of them are more modern, and you can see that they've been made quite recently. But other marks, much older. And it does make you think, well, they're cut quite deeply, these things. People would have taken some time cutting the marks in. They must have cut them in there for some sort of reason. What that reason is, we're not sure. We'll probably never know. As you can see, the stones go around out the outside in the sort of barrow area. They're quite well constructed. It does make you think that originally they stood maybe a little higher and was more of an impressive sight. Here we see the illustrated stone. The markings on this are very, very patterned, very ordered. You've got a lot of recurring wave patterns going on. And here we have a little bit of history. If you want to read some proper history on it, everything that's known, hit pause, have a bit of a read of this. All very interesting stuff. And obviously there's the diagram there which shows you how it sort of originally looked, or how they assume it originally looked anyway. So it's a very interesting place, is Wales. We get a lot of these stone sites around there. Worth checking out.